Hey guys, it's Fonzie with Dip Your Car, and in the past, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, probably 30 people or more have sent me a link to this specific video. Now, there's going to be lots of people and lots of entities out there that maybe say something negative or say something I don't agree with when it comes to Dip Your Car or Plasti Dip or our products. And we rarely ever react or respond. It's just not worth it. But once in a while, there's a channel or a group that has enough eyeballs and sends a message that's so terribly misleading or incorrect that it's worth at least addressing. So we've got one here. It's made by a group called Donut Media. Never heard of them, not familiar with them, and I promise you this, this is not a bash against Donut Media. I don't know those guys. I'm not familiar with them, and it is nothing personal against them at all. I'm sure they're great guys. There's actually a couple things I like to say at the end about these guys that is positive. But I've worked so hard, and our team has worked so hard alongside with our community to push back against stuff like this. We try really hard to make sure that Plasti Dip gets a good name and that the misconceptions of the product are a thing of the past. And then something like this comes out, and it just it makes that fight that much more difficult. So if you want to watch along with me and I can share some thoughts with you, let's start the video now.
Oh no! Oh, this is the worst thing I've ever done.
Right off the bat, you can tell where this video is going. I understand what they're trying to do, and you'll understand more as you watch through it. But to start off with that kind of narrative, it's really unfortunate. Because right off the bat, you can tell they had absolutely no idea what they were doing when using the product.
Professionally installed vinyl wrap
versus $535 do-it-yourself Plasti Dip.
is more expensive, more better.
Okay, so just using common sense right off the bat, you're comparing professionally installed vinyl wrap versus do-it-yourself Plasti Dip. Professionally installed vinyl wrap being visually compared to do-it-yourself Plasti Dip. I can tell by that dude already that he's never used the product before. So you're taking professionally installed vinyl wrap and comparing the experience to a first-timer with Plasti Dip. Makes sense.
Two nearly identical Nissan 350Zs, and we've been modifying them to be fun daily drivers that you can take to the track.
One Z gets a ton of expensive parts put on it, and the other Z gets cheap parts.
Then we test them to see which components are actually worth your hard-earned money.
If you want to change the color of your car, you basically have three options. Traditional paint job, a vinyl wrap, or Plasti Dip. The gloss of a concourse level paint job is straight up intoxicating. But a perfect paint job like that is not only incredibly expensive, but it takes forever. So, I'm taking the happy medium route. I'm gonna get my car professionally vinyl wrapped, $3,000.
I will be Plasti Dipping my car by hand. Plasti Dip offers many of the same benefits as vinyl wrapping, but for the fraction of a price. It is relatively easy to do, I hope. The only downside is that it's never gonna look as dope as a real paint job, and it's not as durable. But more importantly, does it look $2,500 better?
I'm leaning towards a hard maybe.
Possibly.
Probably.
We'll see.
Besides being cheaper, Plasti Dip has some key advantages. The application is pretty simple. It's way faster than getting a new paint job or a wrap like the high car. Also, you can take it off if it turns out poorly.
If you've watched our videos before, if you've used Plasti Dip before and done it the right way, which so many of you guys have, you're already cringing so hard based on what you've seen. You know exactly what I'm thinking right now.
But since I wasn't even there for this, maybe Nolan can explain better the Plasti Dip process.
Before spraying, you have to thoroughly clean the car. It's all in the prep, baby.
So to break it down nice and simple for you, wash, prep, mask it, and Plasti Dip it. This is definitely gonna be a process, but I think we got it under control. Oh.
Plasti Dip and water do not mix, so we have to make sure every drop of water is off of this car before we start, otherwise it'll peel immediately.
I appreciate him saying that Plasti Dip and water do not mix, but if you're watching this video or if you've seen that video, please, as we say in all of our videos and all of our tutorials, don't wash the car the same day that you Plasti Dip it. There's no way, even with that compressor, that you're gonna get all of the water and all of the moisture out of all the cracks of the car. You're setting yourself up for failure immediately.
After washing and drying the car, it's important to carefully mask off any surface you don't want your Plasti getting dipped. Oh man, look at that razor work. That's nice. That's real nice.
Got the car in the booth. Let's get this thing Plasti dipped.
Feel like a Beastie Boy.
So before we spray, we have to mix the proper ratio.
You don't. You don't have to mix anything. All the Plasti Dip gallons that you should be buying at this point are ready to spray. No one has self-thinned Plasti Dip since 2012. The guy has a gallon of xylene and a gallon of rubber dip from 5 or 6 years ago. This project is already doomed from this moment on. Let's talk about the spray gun for just a second. Never, ever use a spray gun that has a sparking motor in the handle when spraying a coating like Plasti Dip, a low flash point flammable coating. The DYC sprayer, which is designed to spray Plasti Dip, is separated by the spray gun from the turbine by 20 feet for a reason. Don't use the sprayer that these guys are using. This is one of many, many instances to prove that they did little to zero research before they did this project, and we'll get back to that in the future. But he's about to thin a old school gallon of Plasti Dip 50-50 with xylene. That means the solids are gonna be cut in half, the color and the pigment coverage is gonna be cut in half and super transparent. The product isn't gonna spray correctly, it has no UV protection. Again, no research going into this whatsoever.
So our ratio is gonna be 50%, 50%. So we're gonna mix one up to 25 and the other one up to the top, and that'll give us a 50-50 ratio.
I'm just gonna do it like the guy that we got this stuff, I don't know. Yeah. All right.
That dude's about 5 times farther away from the car than he should be.
Yeah. Okay. So the capacity of this is really low. They're not pretty good so far. We're learning this on the fly. None of us really know how to do this. I think that's a little better. Oh, I think this is a mistake.
Yeah.
First impressions, man, I don't know. It doesn't look, I mean, it's runny. That might be on my part. Probably is my part.
It's not your fault because nobody told you that you're not supposed to self-thin a 5 or 6 year old gallon of Plasti Dip.
I feel like this is a mistake.
Even though the first coat looked a little rough, it usually takes a few layers before it starts evening out.
At least we did a good job masking.
We're screwed.
Oh my god.
What? Oh, Christina's laughing, that's not good. As I say in bodywork, if the paint's f***ed up, just keep on painting, baby. Oh my god.
The door looks so big. Oh no.
Dude, it was a team effort, man. Don't worry, I'm not gonna let you
Team
burn
effort.
by
All
yourself.
right, thank you. I'm beside myself. This is the worst thing I've ever done.
This car could not have looked any worse.
I honestly don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's so funny. Like, anyway, dude.
Despite how funny our ordeal was, Plasti Dip can actually look really good. So we wanted to show you guys what a well-done Plasti Dip job looks like.
You know, we spent a lot of time masking, and then I think just got too eager and just blasted through the painting. Having seen a Plasti Dip car that's actually done well, I think Plasti Dip is a great option. It just requires the research and practice to get done well. I'm just thinking of like what could have been, but you know what, there's always next time. I'm sure we'll Plasti Dip on a future season of High Low.
So this is where the guys from Donut Media, or at least this guy, separates himself from everybody that we've addressed in the past in this fashion. He's right. He had no idea what he was doing. They didn't do any research. They're using the wrong product, the wrong spray system. The masking and prep was off. They're doing it outdoors. This was not a representation of dipping your car. And I really appreciate him being upfront enough to say, look, this isn't the best. There's other ways to do it better, and maybe we'll try it again in the future. So I'd like to wrap it up really with two things. One, I understand what you guys were doing. Content is king, and you needed to tell a story, and you went for the cheapest option possible versus an expensive option. But you're affecting a lot of things with this, and it just comes down to my opinion of being responsible for your content. I started this business in my garage in 2011. Worked really, really hard for a long period of time with a great group of people to build the reputation of a product and a company. This was not a representation of that product or company. But the way that you positioned it, it tells a really bad story. The narrative, if you just watch this video, is that plasti dipping your own car is the worst thing you've ever done. It's a terrible idea, and you're going to walk away thinking that's the result you're probably going to get. And it's not a fair representation at all. It's your right to do whatever content you want, but comparing a professional installed vinyl wrap versus a couple people dipping their car for the first time with no knowledge, no experience, and the wrong tools and products, again, like what story are you really trying to tell at that point? I just think it's irresponsible. It's really unfortunate. This is the type of thing that gives Plasti Dip a bad name. Thousands and thousands of people are going to see this. Luckily, as I've seen in the comments, not everybody's in the dark about this. Multiple people have been like, that's not how you dip a car. That's not correct. That's not fair. And I do appreciate everybody in our community doing that. But as the owner of a small company who's worked from the ground up, this type of thing is just unfortunate. And again, if I sound a little bitter or a little irritated, I apologize about that, but I am a little bitter and a little irritated. And again, it's nothing against these guys. I'm sure that they're great guys, and it's not their job to protect Dip Your Car or Plasti Dip with their content. But it's my right to call that out as being terribly irresponsible. Now, he says maybe they're going to Plasti Dip again in the future. My man, if you're going to dip again in the future for any reason and you want the content, come down to Dip Your Car. I will teach you how to do it. I will show you the right products. I'll do a full tutorial with you on camera or off, but I will take the time to educate you so that the next time you represent my company and the products that we use, it could at least be a fair representation. That's all that I would ask. I'm going to continue watching this series. I think it's a cool series. I'm excited to see what else they do with the car, and I'll probably even backtrack to the first couple episodes. Nothing against Donut Media at all. I wish them the best. But if you have an entity that has this much reach and these many eyeballs, just think about how you're going to impact everybody else before you represent a product in such a terrible light. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching with me. If you have any thoughts, whether you agree with me or disagree, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully I can connect with the guys from Donut Media in the future. And if they ever want to dip again, we can do it together. It's Fonzie. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.